Warning. This program contains coarse humor and a sense of language that some people might not share. Viewer discretion is advised.
It was quiet in the residential area, not a single person there to be precise. My astonishment grew even more when Electronic appeared from the next turn. I wanted to call out to him, but stopped, because he was going a little too confidently in an unknown direction. It's strange, that goes against his nature. Anyway, what can I talk to Electronic about? And yeah, I'd have to start a conversation first. Seems like I was completely in despair. However, it would be interesting to follow him out and find out where he's rushing to. As a child, I liked games of spies, and here's a chance to put myself into a real spy's shoes. I decided not to sneak and hide in a special way and just tailed him quietly at a distance. Soon we came to the library. Electronic knocked and went inside. I stood behind a big tree so nobody could see me and began to wait. He was absent for quite a long time. Perhaps this is a stupid idea, because in fact, what difference does it make if he went to the library? Maybe just decided to get something to read? He was walking fast, so what? Perhaps that was some business afterwards. My thoughts were disturbed by a loud door slam. I looked towards the library and saw Electronic running away from there, and Xenia, who ran after him shouting along the way. I don't want to hear it anymore, or see you either. They ran past me, but naturally they were so involved in chasing each other they didn't notice me. The whole situation seemed very funny, and I decided that I needed to find out what the matter was. I wondered where Electronic could be running to like that. So he ran out of here. He's going to be following, like, probably this path. If anything, he'd run back to the clubhouse. That seems the most reasonable. Let's try that. Yes, it's quite obvious that he ran straight to this native cybernetics club. I entered without knocking, but didn't find anyone inside. Electronic, it's me. The sound of footsteps from the next door... The sound of footsteps came from the next room, and soon Electronic himself appeared.
Hi, Simeon. I'm just...
His eyes ran guiltily, and his shirt had visible traces of sweat. Going in for sports, I see. Sprinting.
Hey, you saw that?
He asked, doomed. Yes, purely by chance, so I decided to stop by and ask how you were doing and what happened.
Nothing special, really.
Indeed, fleeing from an angry librarian, it's nothing. You can tell me. I smiled disarmingly.
Really? And you won't tell?
Of course. Silent as the dead, cross my heart. It seems I exaggerated there a bit, but looks like it had convinced him.
Okay.
He took a deep breath, gathering his strength.
You know, I've liked Xenia since the first day.
At those words, I wanted to fall on the floor and start rolling around, shaken by the violent attacks of laughter. But out of respect for him, I refrained. Still, his next few words flew past my ears.
And so I decided, well, and you saw what happened next.
A brave fellow indeed. Well, you try harder, I guess, and you will succeed. I patted him on the shoulder, trying really hard not to laugh.
Thank you for the support.
He smiled sadly. Okay, I have to go. I have some work to do. I shot out of the clubhouse like a bullet and finally laughed out loud. However, if you think about it, Electronic and Xenia would make a wonderful couple. They're actually a perfect match. It's strange that Xenia rejected him. I was going towards the square thinking further about this episode. At the end of the day, Electronic is not such a simpleton. Just like that, he declared his love, even realizing that refusal will follow. Or on the contrary, is it because he's just as simple as an apple pie? Either way, you can feel the honesty and sincerity in his behavior. More complicated people would spend hours, days, months, years thinking about how to present this in a better way, but what consequences it could have and whether you should even bother. I would do it myself. No, rather, I have done so. But he just said it. Unsuccessfully, of course, but it could have gone differently. These thoughts made me completely melancholy, and so much so that the lunch signal, usually so anticipated, didn't trigger any emotions at all. The canteen was chock full. It seems that the camp was slowly emerging from the morning depression. Maybe the sun that had come out from the clouds contributed to that, or maybe something else I'd missed while running after electronic. Only the places next to Ileana and Alyssa turned out to be free. I braced myself and started walking towards them. Eating was still a necessity. Can I sit with you? Oh yeah, just sit down. Why are you all gloomy? It's just that you're too cheerful. I'm trying to maintain the energy balance in the universe. Uliana giggled. Oddly enough, the girls did not pay any attention to me and talked about their own concerns. At first I thought it was good, but then I started to think that they were just taking no notice of me. By the way, where's Lena? Of course, because of all my thinking, I'd completely forgotten about her. Yeah, I don't know. Alyssa answered absently. Has she still not appeared? As you can see. I took a look around the canteen, but I didn't see her. And nobody's heard anything about her. Nope. Don't you find that strange? What's so strange? Maybe she's reading, or sleeping, or something. Seems like you're talking about yourself. It's none of y'all business, is it? Alyssa interjected angrily. Well, if a person is missing, you weren't so worried when Shark disappeared? That's quite different. Yeah? And I wonder. I had no answer and just blankly looked at Alyssa before going back to my food. She did not insist on continuing the conversation. Lunch was over. I silently stood up and went out of the canteen without a goodbye. So Lena disappeared. What should I do now? On the other hand, why should I do anything? Why me? Where am I, and why am I here? Who are all these people? One cannot be absolutely sure whether Lena is what she seems. Perhaps all this doesn't even exist, so why should I worry? However, for me now, Lena is still the same Lena. The modest, quiet girl I met on the first day. And even her strange behavior could not affect my attitude towards her. In the end, it's not certain that I still exist, so while the world is logical, at least to some extent, I have to play by its rules.